Everything's Corrupt by Ice Cube. Ice Cube is a legend and has been doing hip-hop music since 1987 with NWA. He is known as one of the Godfathers of Gangsta Rap music. He's also a critically acclaimed writer, director, producer, and the brains behind the Big Three basketball league. Cube hasn't released an album since 2010. Has the time away slowed him down? Here's our honest review of Everything's Corrupt by Ice Cube.
Everything's Corrupt.
Dang, I didn't even realize that since 2010. Man.
Yeah, man. It's been a minute. I repped that West. That was the last album. I love that album.
Oh.
I fuck with that album pretty hard, actually.
What's up?
Anytime Ice Cube drops something, man, I'm immediately in a position where I have to go listen to it. Like,
Okay.
I just love Ice Cube's honesty and his realness. How you feel about this album artwork?
I thought it was dope, man. I mean, it kind of gets like that whole, I don't know, it's just a lot of symbolism with the video that I can't even really begin to decipher. So it's really captivating. Thought it was like really simple to be like everything is corrupt. Everything over money is corrupt and everything like that. So it's a really deep but simple cover.
There's blood on his hands, but money can fix it.
Yeah.
And that's what I got from this album cover. Ice Cube's been talking about this Everything's Corrupt album for a minute. When I saw the album artwork, I was just like, hey, man, he's going for the jugular. but that's kind of what Cube usually does, man.
Yeah.
And that goes right into the flow. The flow of this project is talking about corruption. I mean, real talk. He's talking about all different types of corruption, though. He's talking about the presidency. He's talking about politicians.
Drugs.
He's talking about drug dealing. He's talking about, people taking, drugs, and like it's police being corrupt. Everything, pretty much, like people being corrupted by stardom and social media and stuff like that. And that's pretty much the flow. He's got a couple of songs that's not about corruption in a sense, but the majority of it stays on topic.
Yeah, man, most definitely. The topic is definitely on subject. And not only that, but the flow just kind of gave me that West Coast vibe. Like, just that OG West Coast vibe. And I think that was pretty well accomplished because, Ice Cube's 30 years in the game, and he's still giving us that same Ice Cube West Coast flavor, and it still sounds fresh and new and everything like that. So I thought that was really dope.
Highlights for this joint, man. When I first heard Arrest the President when it came out, I was in the car dying laughing when I heard that hook. I was like, yo, Ice Cube is a fool, man. And I also, chase down the bully who's gonna hang him up by his nuts by the pulley.
Yeah.
I was just like, God damn. If y'all don't know what he's talking about the people that had the tiki torches in that song. But the highlights for me, I really like Don't Bring Me No Bag.
Yeah.
I like the vibe of that. It's got like a trappy sound. Fire and Water is really dope to me. Street Shed Tears, that's a really deep song. I like Ice Cube just talking about all the love that he gets everywhere he goes, because I believe that's how it is. Can You Dig It? I really like how he talks about the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s in each verse.
Yes.
And the way he did it. And he kind of had a Warrior sample on there, which I thought was really dope. Everything's Corrupt. That beat is nuts.
Yes.
And I love that song. And then One for the Money, I like that song a lot. And the beat is like one of those Ice Cube beats that he rides the hell out of that tempo. And that's his vibe, and he can destroy that vibe right there.
Yeah, man, Chase Down the Bully was just on point. Don't Bring Me No Bag, I thought that was like something really appropriate to say, like, we ain't about that bag talk. We need that envelope, we say them envelopes.
Yeah.
I thought that was really dope. On Them Pills, like, I just like the manner he was directing the subject matter to, and I just like how he flipped everything and just made it sound really, really hard. Street Shed Tear has to be like my favorite song off the project, just because of how it sounds. The hook is really great, and I just, like you said, I just love how the realness, all the love that he's gotten really sounds together. Can You Dig It? I just love, like you said, whole 70s, 80s, 90s thing, and the Warriors sample at the end just had me just rolling, because I was thinking about that the whole song, like, literally. Exactly. The new Funkadelic, man, I don't know what it is about that, but it just had me just grooving and everything. Everything's Corrupt is crazy. And Good Cop, Bad Cop, I don't know how I forgot about that song, because that was a single that came out last year. So yeah, hearing that was refreshing, but it fit the album so well, so it was great to close out on that.
Lowlights. Look, man, I don't really have a song. Well, I will say that Chase Down the Bully, I'm not a fan of the beat.
Okay.
Like when that beat came on, I was just like, yo, what the hell is this?
It was kind of off. Yeah,
the beat is kind of weak. But aside from that, I just want to say, like, if you're like not a fan of Ice Cube already, I don't know how much you'll be able to appreciate this album.
Facts.
Because like I've liked Ice Cube since I first heard him. You know what I'm saying? I remember NWA. I wasn't bumping it and stuff like that, but once he went solo, you know, I was following everything he's been doing, and I've loved everything he's done, all the way from Death Certificate, all the way when he was pushing rhymes like Wait, Players Club soundtrack, Until We Rich, all the way up to now. Like, so every time he drops something, I feel like I got to go out and check it out, because he always puts a huge amount of honesty in his songs. Like he had Gangsta Rap, Made Me Do It, or I Rep That West. And like, but it's like in these songs, like he said, who gives a fuck if they play it in Virginia? Like, who would have the balls to actually say that and risk hurting their Virginia audience? Yeah. But you know, Ice Cube, he really don't give a fuck. Like, he's in these positions, like the positions that he's in with the Big Three and all of these other organizations. He comes out and still puts out a Everything's Corrupt album. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just reminds me of, like, in a sense, comedy. Like, that's why I don't really like Kevin Hart's comedy, because it's like, so soon as he got all the money, he played it safe. Yeah. But Chappelle don't play it safe. Chappelle just say what the fuck he feel. And like Ice Cube is like that to hip hop. Gotcha. And he's been doing it before 444 from Jay and all of them. He always been on to this, you know, turn off the TV, get your money right, start hustling, set your family up for money. Ice Cube always been on that shit. And it's verified. You can go back and listen to his old projects and hear it. Yeah. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Yeah. In the 90s, it's verified. So if y'all ain't a fan of Ice Cube, I don't know if this will float your boat.
Yeah, and I'll pick it back off of that, because it's just like, you know, the sound is like real West Coast driven, and I don't know if everybody will be like, you know, onto that, because the way music is now, it's like generalized with one sound. But that's not a bad thing about the album. It's just the fact that this is true to Ice Cube's sound. So if you're not catered to that sound, this might not be the album for you. This might not be the music for you. You might find one or two songs that, you know, you'll cater to. But songs like, if I can point out Bad Dope, I didn't really like that sound for Ice Cube. I didn't think that fit with him in this album. But it's just like songs when they did that, and Non-Believers, I wasn't really feeling that either. Just because it kind of threw off the whole course of the album for me, in my opinion. But yeah, that's the only thing, man. Other than that, if you're not really catered to this sound, you might not like it that much.
Yeah. Final thoughts. Ice Cube is one of the most honest MCs out there. He's still doing it. He's been rapping forever.
30 years.
And he seems like he never changes. Like, he's still the same. Still the super OG. Still got the pyroclastic flow. So all the people that know, like, all Ice Cube. The only thing that bothered me is he ain't do the little shiver that he normally do in his rhymes. Okay. Like, yeah. Like, he didn't do that once the whole project. But it's all good. Ice Cube is still Ice Cube. Still love the dude, man. He's definitely triple OG legend in hip hop, Godfather of Gangsta Rap music. And I'm going to continue to listen to this just because I just like the honesty and the truth and some of the things that he's saying now, he been saying for years. It ain't like he's been, you know.
And I think that's the thing that people will most like about this project, is that it's an honest project from somebody that we've come to get to know for 30 years. I mean, in music or not. And it's just to show that growth of not only your sound and your music, but your growth as a person, to where you can talk about how corrupt everything is and give a meaning off. That speaks a lot. It shows that you're not only trying to get better with your music, but you're trying to reach out to people and actually make them think about the decisions that they're making with songs like Don't Bring Me No Bag and On Them Pills. I mean, it's just, you're still making that hard gangster sound, but at the same time, you're trying to reach out to people and say, hey, you don't need to be doing that no more. So I think that's what you really get out of this project.
Final grade, man. Check. Ice Cube gets a check from me. I love Ice Cube. I mean, I said everything I can say about it, man. Like, I'm just saying, like, it's It's verified. It's in the music. It's honest. It's truthful. It's how a lot of people is feeling these days. It's right there, man.
Yeah, man. Check. This is just something that you can just actually hear the progression of an artist, of a human being, progression of music, anything, and you can see how far he has come as a man and as an artist, and it's just great to hear him still doing it like he hasn't left. I mean, it's been, what, 8 years since his last album, so he hasn't lost a beat.